Hey everyone, I finally have the LEGO Tudor Corner. It's from the LEGO Icons theme. Here's all the set information, and I got this on day one, even though I'm only posting this video now. It took a while to build the whole thing, and I got it on day one, so I got the LEGO Icons Corner kiosk gift with purchase. I'm really happy that I got this, but I wish that this was more available because everybody at the LEGO store wanted it, including kids, but the employees were saying, oh, we can only give it to you if you buy this big, expensive set. So is this set worth it? Let's find out. In terms of box dimensions, it's exactly the size of the Creator Bookshop box instead of the larger Museum and X Mansion that I reviewed more recently, but it is a little bit wider. So this is a little bit thicker than this, so hopefully it contains a few more pieces. But let's see. Here's a box from the side. We have here this chimney sweep, and we see the set from another angle. And on the back, we get to see the set in the neighborhood. So the Natural History Museum from December 2023 is here. This is the Jazz Club from January 2023. So they look very well placed together in this neighborhood, and we see here the different modules that make up the modular building, as well as the building dimensions. So those are shown right there. And we see here also some scenes from the modular building that we can recreate once we actually put it together. So let's do just that. Once again, the box is not completely full with stuff, so they could have made this box maybe 20% smaller and it still would have fit everything, but they made it this large for marketing purposes so that when you see it in the store, you want to buy it. The set has 20 plastic bags in total, at least in North America, and here are the first 10. Lots of interesting colors right there. And I will point out, not to mix bag 6 with bag 9. They look very similar in terms of the numbers, but make sure you're holding it right side up and not upside down. And here are the bags from 11 to 20. Again, lots of very interesting colors there, and interesting minifigure parts hiding within these bags. In this set, we also get these 3 items. This sleeve right here that holds the base plate, this thing that holds the instructions, and this is the only thing that comes in paper packaging for whatever reason, and then this plastic bag that is unnumbered and it contains some large plates. I see here evidence that they taped over this, then they untaped it for some strange reason. But the base plate should be in here regardless. And here we have it. It's a green base plate, so we're back to green base plates after having done lots of modular buildings across the Icons and Marvel themes in dark bluish gray, so now we're back to green. And it looks like, unfortunately, there's only one instruction manual for those people who like to use the paper booklets. I wish they would have made 2 or 3 manuals so that one person can work on this part, and then another person can work on this other floor, and maybe a third person can work on the upper floor. This way you can have multiple people building the thing at the same time without having to use the app. But I'm guessing they're trying to push people to use the app anyway. There's a QR code to scan for points. And then on the other side, there's not much to see here except the silhouette of this set right here, the Tudor Corner next to the Museum and Jazz Club. And it's copyright 2025 as expected. Let's have a look to see if there's any interesting information at the front or back of the instructions. Yeah, use a builder app, we know. Okay, so here's a picture of the designer with the set. I appreciate when LEGO does this. The designer looks to be very happy and very proud of his creation, and it seems like that is totally justified. And there's written descriptions here that give information about the set. You can hit pause if you want to read this on your own time. And I'll just skim through it very quickly and move on to the build, which is what excites me the most. There is an orange brick separator in this set, and here they tell you how to use it, as usual. And here, they just tell you to build this minifigure. And they're saying here, the weather forecast calls for rain, and basically, they're saying here that this is someone who is inspired by another minifigure on the Orient Express set. So it's interesting how LEGO Ideas and LEGO Icons minifigures are coexisting. Not really surprising because they're all part of the LEGO universe in general. Now, we will build this out without the instructions, but at the very end, what do we see? So we have a part list. This is available on lego.com, so you don't need to get it from here. There's more parts in various colors. Brick separator that we already talked about, and I like how they did not shrink down the base plate. They actually put it in its full size and it's taking up that much space. More parts. This might be the largest part list that I've ever seen. So it's pretty diverse. It's not just lots of pieces, but lots of different types of pieces, which would make this a good parts pack for people who build their own creations. And here, like they just tell you the build is done, and let's just see the last note while we're here. The old clock is running a little late. The clockmaker can take care of it after his lunch break. All right, that sounds good. We'll put these instructions away and never talk about them again. And now let's start the build with bag 1 without the instructions. So because both the front and the back of the box do not show the building from all angles, I will use the LEGO 3D view to be able to see the other sides and the back of this set. I think that's only fair, but still I will not use the step-by-step instructions. All right, let's go. So this box is a bit large. It's thicker than the other bookshop box. And here I have a full base plate instead of a half a base plate like last time. So I think what I'll do is I'll push the box away. It will not be visible on camera anymore. I'll put it on that side, but you'll still be able to see the build and you'll see more of the build. Oh, and I'll show you the underside of this set only once. And here it is, because once I'm done building this thing, there's no way I'm going to show it to you from the underside. When placing tiles on corners, I try to hide these sprue marks so that they're not visible. That's something that you can do if you care about these things. But just to keep in mind, LEGO pieces do have these sprue marks. They're part of almost every LEGO element, and it's your choice whether you want to show them prominently or hide them or do it at random. Yeah, now that the perimeter is done, I don't need to worry about the sprue marks anymore, so the rest of the pieces, just put them wherever. And the piece that will go right here, eventually when I find it, is a plate and not a tile, so I don't need to worry about this one either. Bag 1 gives us this Mary Poppins-like minifigure, along with a rare pink umbrella. We actually saw this in the bookshop, interestingly enough. We see it again here. And you also get to tile off the sidewalk and do a little bit of the foundation of the Tudor Corner. So there's a lot more sidewalk here than I was expecting. So you think that this is the building you're going to get, but actually it's just this. This is all sidewalk. But let's build more before rushing to judgment. Bag 2 finishes off the tiling of the interior parts, as well as the toilet. It's pretty funny that I think that minifigures need toilet paper. And before I start building everything up, I want to appreciate the tile work done here. It's really well done. I like this part, interesting color choices. I like this right here. This on its own, it's almost a work of art, and we're just getting started with bag 2 out of 20. I almost didn't want to mention this, but this bag looks like it has seen better days. Like, look at it, it's all worn off. So I wonder what would have happened for this to happen to this particular bag. Maybe it was like the bottommost one on the warehouse and they're just like moving it around or something. That's just so weird to me. I've never seen this before. I hope the pieces are okay, and they seem to be okay. It's interesting to me how these sprue marks for the same piece are not on the same side. So here it's on the left, here it's on the right. It's an interesting observation. Note that these two top hats are not the same. The minifigure is intended to wear this one by default, but of course, you can always play around with the minifigures and give each one the headpiece of your choice. This is a genius solution for stud reversal using a Technic brick because of the hollow studs at the top. We're inserting these pieces here to put this whole thing upside down just to have this nice grill looking shape. And here there's two tiles, so that's a very smart move by the designer. Wow, yeah, I love that. So bag 3 gives us two minifigures, the men right here, as well as some interior details for the haberdashery, which is a place where they sell cloth and hats and things like that, and a little bit of the kitchen details. And that nice part usage there blew me away. So amazing. So here I'm going to deviate slightly from what the designer intended, such that this piece right here is no longer visible, because by default this goes here or somewhere very close to here. Then you can see just this brown piece that looks very out of place on the tan wall. So I did a little bit of redesign to make that not happen. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to need to get a few pieces to make this work. The bag does include this dark red grill piece to be used as bacon or some other kind of meat, but I prefer to use it here. This will give me one of these tan plates that I'll move over here. Okay, so now this is at the exact level that it should be at. So right about here, and then we'll add the jumpers on top, and we need to be careful when applying them so that they don't bring down the whole shelf. Actually, it needs to be a bit higher up. So what this means is that we don't really need these pieces that I created out of 3 pieces. Instead, we could just use these regular bricks with the clip on them. I'm just going to raise everything up by 1 plate, and that will help. And I got these pieces from my collection. They're not included in this set, at least not in this bag. But of course, if you want to modify a LEGO set, you're often going to need to use your own pieces, and I'm fine with that. All this just to avoid having that brown stripe from the exterior, because I really want my modulars to be clean all around with no extra colors that you don't want to see from the outside. And then to finish up this level, because I added these pieces, I'm going to need to add a bunch more of my own pieces. So these bricks in addition to these ones from the set to finish things off. And then from here on out, we continue normally. Oops, I'm going to need one more 1x2 because we used the 2 1x4s down here. You can also use 2 1x1s, which is what I will use because that's what I have on hand right now. And yeah, that's a cleaner look from this side, while still achieving the same overall result with just a little bit of difference when it comes to the interior appearance. And we're almost done with this bag. And now we're completely done with bag 4. It's been the most interesting bag of the build so far because of the modifications that I did to the set. But besides that, we have built the diner area. So there's an area here for the server or waiter to operate in. Nice coffee machine, and we'll look at all the details after. We also built these tiny little benches, and I like the curvature here. Classic cash register. And then we just finish up this part as well. And as I already explained, I cleaned it up so that it has a nice appearance even from the outside, and from the inside it looks almost the same with just the addition of these parts right here, which I think is not too bad of a compromise. I ended up with this tan brick as extra, so the equivalent of this, I spent it with my own pieces like this one right here to make this possible. It's interesting how for the same exact piece, LEGO is using two different molds. Notice how here there's a circle in the middle, and here there's this thing that looks like a minus sign. That's very interesting to me, and I'm wondering which one of these is the newer one. So both of these in a brand new 2025 set. That's so interesting to me. Bag 5 builds up this wall right here, and the stairs that take us up to the upper floor. And we have this compartment thingy to look at the bathroom without having to take apart the whole building. So this is pretty convenient, including this thing for your fingernails to attach to. So this whole thing is pretty smart. Keep in mind this is bag 6 and not bag 9. Do not confuse the two. This is a very nice printed piece with the word haberdashery on it. I've never heard of this word before this set was released. It's a pretty nice print right there, and currently it's exclusive to this set. So that's pretty cool. Bag 6 builds the storefront of the haberdashery, finishes up a bit of the stairs, specifically the top part, adds a bit more of the tan wall of the ground floor, and starts to build this wall here for the diner. You also get the chef minifigure or diner attendant in bag 6. This is a very nice print that says the Old Guarded Inn, and it features LEGO goats on it because goats are the goat in LEGO. Basically, LEGO made goats around 13 years ago or something like that, and they only made them in one set, and they destroyed the mold, and then golds are very rare and desirable until last year when they finally came back. So this is a reference to that part of LEGO history, and it's pretty interesting. The other notable print in this bag is the menu, and that's an interesting print as well. Now, this is an interesting choice for architectural detail. It's literally a container like you would find in LEGO Minecraft or LEGO Star Wars, recolored to dark green, and you were using it for the texture. That's pretty smart. Bag 7 builds this wall and facade part of the Old Guarded Inn, which is actually a diner or a cafe more than an inn, but it's a pretty nice build. It's done at a slight angle with some interesting build techniques and nice part usages like these droid arms, and I just like the color scheme of dark green and gold. And this can actually be built independently, and then you just plug it in to the main build when you're done with it and just add a couple pieces like so. Notice these hinge plates at the top, and this piece here to lock it from the bottom. And kudos to the designer for thinking of this. Oh, and we also get this minifigure in bag 7, and she looks like a customer. It's interesting to me how the special on the menu is the rotten fish that we put in the dumpster a few bags ago. This green fish right here, but maybe it's some Northern European humor thing, because remember, LEGO is from Denmark, and close by they have like rotten fish or whatever they call it. They have a fancy name for it, and it's considered a specialty dish. So maybe the style is a little bit too on the nose. Bag 8 finishes the facade of the Old Guarded Inn. You have here this very nice menu in the special, although probably skip the special. And here there's a nice openable window. This is the exterior and this is the interior. And this just goes right here. We intentionally did not place any tile here just to make building this easier as an independent module. This just goes in right there. It's pretty fun to put in place. And this goes on this stud right here. Bag 9 is a pretty small bag, but it does have some interesting pieces, including notably these droid pieces recolored to pearl gold for the very first time in LEGO history. So you can make, at least partially for now, some golden anniversary droids, so hold on to these pieces if you are a Star Wars fan. Very nice to get these. And then we also have this new flower piece. It's an improvement over this piece right here, which is not bad, but sometimes you want to have something new and different, so it's nice to see that LEGO is always innovating when it comes to these new molds. Now, we did see this last year with the Botanical Garden set, but it's good to see it here again, and this is the first time this piece has featured on this channel. Bag 9 finishes up the ground floor. We have some foliage over here, this banister done using very interesting techniques, this railing right here, more foliage in these awnings. This completes the ground floor. Now we'll move up to the upper floor. Oh, and also bag 9 comes with this cute cat. For the building phase with bag 10, we're also going to need 2 of the large plates from the unnumbered bag in tan. Bag 10 builds the foundation of the first upper floor. It's a pretty simple build at this point with mostly plates, but I do find this trapdoor to be very interesting. We also get this minifigure in bag 10, and he comes with a spare mustache that can be given to any one of the other figures if you want. I'll just show you this stairway before I attach it. It's built almost entirely on the side, using some very interesting techniques, and I'm amazed at how every year LEGO is able to create a completely new design of stairs. So this one was pretty fun to put together. I had to guess the underside because I was not able to see it, but I'm pretty sure it's something like this. Bag 11 builds these very interesting stairs that we just looked at. This supply closet that is going to hold this interesting classic looking vacuum cleaner. I also build a bit of the wall on this side as well as this side. Bag 12 builds up this part of the structure here, so a bit of the wall, and this window, which is placed here at an angle, and it gets locked in nicely with this plate right here. And it also gives us all of these small builds right here, which are inserted into this floor. This is the clockmaker's area, and I'll just show you these while I have them, because not all of them are easy to remove afterwards. So you get a nice grandfather clock, this chair, which is pretty simple but has this nice part usage. This hand piece that's usually used for mechs and things like that is recolored to reddish brown, and this desk with a working magnifying glass, so that's very, very cool to see. I like the light, and the hourglass here might be a reference to LEGO Dreams, perhaps the first ever in this theme. And then we also get 2 smaller clocks just for good measure. I will point out though, it was almost impossible for me to insert this gold piece here. I had to do this and like press hard on it, and this piece is pretty thin, so it almost broke. So be patient with this one. Also got lots of useful extra pieces in this bag, so that's always nice to see. Bag 13 finishes up the walls of the sides of the upper floor, here and here, also includes this door, and we have these very beautiful clocks with nice part usage and very interesting building techniques. This one is built on 3 dimensions, literally, so you have studs going up this way, the sides this way and that way, also pointing toward this direction. So very interesting build. And this here is a LEGO Technic piece that's usually used in motors. It's been reused here as part of a mechanism, so it's very appropriate actually. And yeah, even this is nice part usage right here for the frame at the top, so this is beautiful. And I like the use of this hinge piece right here for the drawer of this table. That's pretty nice as well. Let's put all the clocks in the right place. This one already has a spot right here. And here's what that looks like looking inwards on the top and looking outwards. Bag 14 finishes up the main floor with the front windows and some very nice foliage at the front as well as the side. In bag 15, we're going to need 2 of these tan plates that are part of the unnumbered bag. I just have to pause right now and say I love this building technique. Basically, we build everything here using studs not on top techniques, and we have these angled pieces here, these cheese slopes in the 2x1 format that is new from 2024, and then we insert these pieces without anything holding them, just like this. Yeah, very beautiful effect, and I love what the designer did here. Bag 15 builds the foundation of the top floor as well as part of the Tudor wall. This is very nice. I love the building techniques, especially on the front. So I think now it's time to show you this sink, which is done using some really interesting techniques before I put it into the main build. Specifically, I like the use of the headlight bricks put on backwards so that it's able to support this piece, which is opposite of its usual orientation, so the anti-studs are facing towards us. This has this nozzle or shower head, and I just like the build of the whole thing. Like, this looks like the pipe for the sink. It just makes a lot of sense. So we're going to put this into position right here, and that's why we don't have another one of these pieces here, because this goes here. We do have these yellow bricks that go here just to fill up the space, and they're not going to be seen in the end. We're going to cover them up. But then here, we do not have a 2x3 yellow brick, just because it would interfere with this here. So if I were to put this in place, it's not going to fit. It's going to push this out a little bit. So what the designer did instead is going to use a Technic brick with 2 holes, put it right here, and so these studs are going to go in partially. And that way, it's snug. It's not going to have any illegal pressure on these bricks, so that's just very nice. And then we can do this to fill the rest. So that's a genius move by the designer right there. You're literally taking away little parts of the wall to accommodate this, so it does not go ahead one extra stud and then it would block the door. Yeah, pretty impressive if you ask me. Bag 16 gives us this nice little table and couch that go right here, in addition to this cat playground thing, and the front facade of the topmost floor. So we build onto it, and this just looks very, very nice. It's very substantial, more than I have ever seen in any other modular building, but the end result is shaping up quite nicely. You can really feel the weight here, like it's very heavy on this side, obviously, and there's a lot of stuff here. This is all very dense, even before adding the other bags. Bag 17 builds up this door and the related part of the wall, again in the Tudor style. The same thing on this side right here. And we also build this part of the roof slash wall in a slightly different way. There's lots of interesting build techniques used right here, including the use of transparent bricks instead of the default windows, which are used here but with white panes. It's a little bit of a change. And we also get this cat food and water. And in addition, we get this minifigure right here, who comes with at least 1 cat. Bag 18 gives us this very nice bookshelf. It is independently built from the rest of the set. And we also get the continuation of the rooftop here, so not quite the roof itself, but the infrastructure needed to support the roof. So very interesting design right here. It looks very cool. And we also tile off the top right here. Plus there's some interior details that we add in this building phase as well. Now let's put the bookshelf into place. I have to say right away that the combination of colors here, black, dark red, and white, remind me of the Lamborghini Countach that I built without the instructions last year. So that's a very nice reminder there of another set from the same theme. Bag 19 finishes up the roof done in dark red, and I have to say this was very fun to put together. I was initially scared of putting this together without the instructions, but it turned out to be simpler than I first thought. Everything just clicks into place. You get just the perfect amount of pieces to cover this up quite nicely, and I'm very impressed with the final result. Here's a close-up at the 3x3 clock print. It's done in shiny gold, and I really like this print. It looks awesome, and I love the way that it shines. And we even get two of them. That's great. Also, in this final building phase, we'll be needing the last plate from the unnumbered bag. Bag 20 finishes up the build with the roof. This bicycle cart thing, this very fancy clock, as well as a few small things that we'll put together, and the ever famous lamppost for every single modular building. Alright, it's time to finally put everything together. And now we are completely done with the build. Let's just put on the top floor. And there you have it. This is the LEGO Modular Tudor Corner. Wow, what a build. Here are the minifigures of the set, shown in the order in which I built them and in the default parts, but you can always swap the parts around. We have here this lady who is a traveler from the Orient Express set. She's carrying a pink umbrella similar to what we saw in the bookshop. We have this guy right here who looks to be operating the haberdashery with a nice smile on his face. And this third guy is a mannequin. I really wish that they provided us with one extra head piece so that we can replace this blank expression with a smiling face or something like that. The prints on all three are okay. There's no side printing on any of them though, but what we do get is good. Next up we have the chef, a customer for the diner or old garden inn, as well as the watchmaker or clockmaker. These are also nice figures to get. These two in particular are pretty retro and classic, so they do have alternative expressions, as shown here, unlike the men that we saw previously. And here's the main expression of the clockmaker without the mustache, so it works with or without the mustache as you prefer. And all the prints here are good, with except maybe this print right here. I'm not sure if it's intentionally designed to be very thick in terms of the eyebrows and eyes are kind of blending into each other, or is it just a printing error? So you tell me. I'm not quite sure about this one, although the alternative expression here is fine, so at least one of the two faces is usable. Next up we have the townhouse resident, a chimney sweep, or thief, as we'll soon find out, and this white cat right here was owned by this person right here, at least if you believe the story on the box. And here again we have some nice prints, but the chimney sweep is a bit disappointing because he gets absolutely no print on the torso at all, nothing. I really wish that LEGO would have gone the extra mile in this set and given us an Ninjago reference, a Monkey Kid reference, a classic space reference. Like this could have been like the classic space logo on a black torso that has not come out in a while. So if LEGO did that, a lot of people, including myself, would be very happy. But instead they give us just this plain black torso for whatever reason. But at least the rest of the figure is fine. And I do think that because it's a premium set, LEGO should give us a premium experience when it comes to the minifigures. Minifigures are okay, but none of them have side printing, none of them have dual molded legs. So it's those kind of things that I'm looking for in a premium LEGO Icons set. Finally, we have another cat that's been recolored to dark tan. It's the same as the previous one, but it's nice to have a different color variation. And I just wish there were more cats than just those two. Here are the extra pieces in the set. Here are the interesting extra pieces. So first of all, we can create an additional flower bouquet. We have one more of this piece, actually more than just one. Also have one in gray. And we can also give the minifigures a lot more accessories than they come with by default, as shown in the box, because you do get extra pieces for each one of these minifigure accessories, and that's just awesome. So for example, you could give this guy a mustache, you could give this lady a gun and handcuffs because she's an undercover cop. You can add these stories to your LEGO city and just make things more interesting. So that's always pretty cool. And we get two extra minifig stand pieces so we can pose the minifigs at dynamic angles, just like what we did with the LEGO X Mansion and Museum before. For example, something like this. Now it's time to look at the set itself. It's so large it barely fits in frame, so we're going to look at it level by level. But here it is just to see all the levels combined, just to understand the context in which we see the set. There's one small side build, and we can just look at this now. It's basically a bike frame, at least half of a bike, plus this part right here to carry cargo or cats or things like that. So it's a cargo bike, and this frame is new in this color for this year, but other than that, it's pretty standard. So we'll just set this to the side because there is unfortunately no default way to lock it into place in the set, except for right here, which is a little bit ridiculous, but there is no easy way to clip it to something. And I wish that that was something that the designer had thought of, or just made it possible to just clip it somewhere so you can park it and forget it instead of having it rolling around. So I'll just put that to the side and continue spinning the building. And as you can see, lots of beautiful colors. Like even if you don't notice every single detail right away, you do see that there's lots of colors here and they're well used. This is the least camera friendly angle of the set, and it still looks fine. Every color here is nice and consistent. There was a brown line going here in the default build, but I changed things up a bit, and I explained that earlier to make it completely consistent even here. And then this corner side looks a lot better because it has this foliage and lots of other interesting visual details. So that's pretty nice. So basically, you're going to want to look at this from 3 different sides, and even from the top, it doesn't look too bad. As you can see, this top view right here. So my first impressions when looking at this in person are very positive. I liked the set when I saw it when it first came out. I knew that I was going to get it on day 1, and I can say, in general, I'm very happy with the overall exterior appearance of the set. It has met and exceeded my expectations, and I'm very happy about that. So just to better understand the set's context, it is on a corner, this corner right here, and basically we have a street that's going this way, and another street that's going this way, and so this is at the intersection of those 2 streets. And there we have this old guarded inn, which is not really an inn according to the interior, but it's more of a cafe or diner, and we access that through the ground floor. Also on the ground floor, we're able to access the haberdashery, a word which here means clothing shop. So it's more of a British term or historic term. We don't really use that in North America too much these days, but at least we know what it means from what we see inside, or you could just look up the word. And that's it for accessing stuff on the ground floor. You can also take the stairs upstairs to this upper floor, and here we have the guy who works on the clocks. I don't know if there's a technical term for that, but basically the clockmaker is here. And then from there we can take the stairs up to the final level, and that's the residential suite. So there's a person who lives here, the minifigure who wears the teal by default, although you can change things around. And that's basically what the set is. There's a little bit of outside stuff at the back, this alleyway with a dumpster here, as well as this foliage. That's pretty nice. Oh, and also the bathroom of the set is accessed through the exterior right here. But to better understand the ground floor, let's take off these upper floors so we can look at the ground floor in more detail. And they are quite heavy, so be careful when removing them. You're going to want to use both hands for sure. All right, so now that we can look at things more clearly, we see that there's lots of stuff going on in here. So let's start with the old guarded inn. So there's basically a food preparation area where the person prepares the food. And to make things easier to see, we can actually remove this wall. It's attached with only 2 studs. So that makes it easier to see that we have a grill, and the grill is actually built upside down using an interesting build technique. We see that there is a sausage and a frying pan, as well as a small sink. Over here we have a diner portion. It looks pretty retro. And here we have a cash register that uses the typewriter piece. So that's an interesting reference to the LEGO Idea set, as well as basically 2 seats where patrons can sit and enjoy a quick meal. So we see here some eggs and toast. In the default set, they do have a stripe of bacon, but I took that out and I used that somewhere else in the build. So with the extra pieces, we can have an additional egg as well as an additional slice of toast. So the plate still looks pretty full. And on this side of the same diner, we have a more formal area. So here's where you might want to go for a nice dinner date. There's a flower on the table, and a stud to add additional food, or maybe a coffee mug, and 2 red chairs. So that's a pretty nice area right there. And we see here a menu. So we don't really see too many words besides the word menu, but I like the fact that it is bilingual, so it works in both English and French. The same thing here with the word special or spécial, or the fish right here. Although the fish apparently has gone bad, and that's why they threw it away in this dumpster. So yeah, I do not want to eat that, but maybe the cats will be interested in eating that. So that's pretty funny. I do wish they provided more fish pieces though, rather than just that one, if they're advertising it so prominently over here. But that's not a big deal. So from the exterior, we see a whole bunch of flowers right here. The foliage is very nice. We have this awning that is adjustable depending on the time of day. So you could bring it all the way down, all the way up, or have it somewhere in the middle. We have these removable seats and tables, so they're very easy to add and remove based on your preference, and also based on the time of day. Maybe when the store closes, you're going to want to take these inside, just like they do in real life. So I like that LEGO makes that possible, because we do have here a few studs where we can hold onto them. We have here in the corner by default there's this railing, so it's telling people don't cross the street right here. I don't know why that is, but for whatever reason it's there. I do wish that LEGO gave us just regular tiles to use instead of these as an option. So give us these to fulfill this design as intended by the designer. And also give us 3 extra of these tiles, or 3 jumpers, or some combination thereof, so that if for whatever reason I want to expand my LEGO city this way, I want to move this construction somewhere else, or maybe I want to move a lamppost over here, I should be able to do that without having to fish around for pieces from my own collection. And these pieces are pretty cheap to produce. I'm pretty sure they're less than the default 10 cents price per piece. So just throw in a bunch of these extra pieces so that people can customize this to their liking and to their needs according to their LEGO city. We have another window, same awning idea, although it's a little bit smaller in size. The flowers are very nice, although I wish we could have gotten 2 different colors here instead of just 1 to make things a bit more interesting. Next up, we have the haberdashery, and I like that there's lots of transparent windows here that make it easy to see what's inside. Even though it's covered up, you still see a little bit on the inside, unlike here where it's very difficult to see. And in the haberdashery, we have lots of interesting things on sale. So I'll bring back the wall from before. So we see here some headwear on display. We have the hats, and by the way, because of these hats and these other items right here, we can really accessorize the minifigures and change up their style, so I'm very happy about that. We can also bring in other minifigures from other sets and give them these items right here, so that's very cool. We also have these spools of thread or yarn that can be sold in bulk to people who are interested in making their own clothes or other things made of cloth. We have a retro cash register right here, as well as a pair of scissors to cut this cloth right here. And I do like the pattern shown here on the ground, done with light nougat as well as black. That's a very nice pattern right there. And we also have for sale some umbrellas in both bright pink as well as black. So it's nice to give the minifigures extra umbrellas, not just for the one traveler. And as I said before, I modified this set so that this shelf here is held with clips instead of just one plate, so that in the end it's not visible from the outside, because I prefer to have this completely consistent. And I was able to do this with just a few pieces from my own collection. So if you want to make the same change, it should be pretty easy to do with just a few pieces that you have lying around, or you can get them very easily from Bricklink or Pick-a-Brick. So we're almost done looking at this ground floor. There's one area we have not looked at, and that's the bathroom. We can access it through this door right here. That's one way of doing things, but it's not very easy to see what's going on. Actually, we need to open two doors, one to access the diner and another one to go to the bathroom, but it's very hard to see from this angle, which is why the designer very cleverly did this thing. So this is for humans to put their finger here and just lift up these stairs. And now we have a much better access to see what's going on in this bathroom, and it's fairly well done. We have some toilet paper, we have a toilet seat, as well as a manual flush. So that's pretty nice. It's pretty small, but it gets the job done, and I'm happy that it's there, because some modular buildings in the past did not include any bathroom at all. So if you have a bunch of modular buildings, this is an essential one for the minifigures so that they can take care of business, and it is accessible from outside, so you don't need to go through the store or something, you could just access it from here. But it is accessible from inside as well, so if you're in the store, you don't need to go out and then back in, you can just access it directly from here. There's lots of details and Easter eggs on this floor and every floor, and if I mention every single one of them, I'll be here all day. So I will have to just give the highlights, and if you want the full details, you have to check out one of the more detailed reviews, or just buy the set and build it for yourself, because nobody's going to tell you every single thing. The only way to fully experience the set is to buy it for yourself, if you're interested in the set, of course. Now, here, what I will mention is the fact that here we're using these battle droid legs and arms from LEGO Star Wars to create this balcony. It's the first time that we get them in the gold color, and I'm very happy about that. So this is just the beginning. I'm excited to see all the pieces in gold. Maybe we will be getting official golden droids for a gift with purchase or something like that later in the year. We'll have to see. So yeah, excellent ground floor. I do have to mention as well the building techniques to expand the diner beyond just this line right here to have this triangle addition. That was very fun to figure out without the instructions. We're using wedge plates, we're using geometry, and it's done in a very, very clever way. This whole thing is built at an angle and then attached in place with just a few studs and then held from the top so that it doesn't go anywhere, and it's very well put together. But this was really, really fun to build without the instructions. I really enjoyed it, and I recommend that you do that. If you build this set, try building this part without the instructions, at least for a little bit, and try to figure it out, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. There's lots of interesting build techniques, lots of interesting part usages. Like for example here, these are crate pieces and they're used here for texture. Yeah, it's just very wonderful. And the dark green and gold color scheme also reminds me of some of the LEGO Lunar New Year celebration sets. So it's a nice reference to those sets as well. So as you can see, we're already mentioning so many different themes and sets in this set, and we haven't even gotten to the main references part yet of this video, because I will mention all of them once I'm done with all the floors. Oh, and also the goat. Almost forgot about the goat, but never forget the goat. So these goats here are a reference to LEGO Goat that came out in only one set a long time ago, and it became super rare until last year. And for one time, like, these goats were going for like $100 on eBay. Maybe they still are, the original goats that LEGO did, so it's a nice reference to the LEGO Goat on this printed piece. But sadly, there's no goats in this set. I really wish they included one. Moving on to the middle floor, we do see here that it is a clockworker's shop. So basically, there were some stairs that we climb up to get to this door right here. We open the door, and the minifig does go through, you just need to put them at the right angle. Yeah, there they go. So let's do that one more time from the other side. Yeah, and just a critique about this minifigure, the hair falls out way too easily. That's pretty annoying. This is a brand new piece, but this hair seems to want to fall off very easily, so that's a bit unfortunate. But you get the idea. It's a pretty nice Easter egg because I've not seen this in any of the advertisements for the set or any of the videos or anything like that, so that's pretty interesting to me. So yeah, and just before we wrap up, I love the exterior of this floor as well. Everywhere you see, there's lots of details, like the masonry bricks right here. I like the different techniques used for the windows, the drainage pipes right here. They're done in a very nice way as well. The foliage pieces, like, again, it's the same build again and again, a little bit repetitive. I wish there was a bit more color here, but what is here is nice, and it's very easy to swap out, let's say, the pink for yellow or orange if you want to do that. But I really like the stuff that's here. You have this nice bay window as well. That's pretty cool. And some interesting column detail right here, in addition to this foliage growing along the back. So that's all very, very nice. This moves way too easily, so it's a small critique. And here we do have like a small inconsistency with this piece going into this blue zone, but it's going to be covered up when this is on top of the ground floor, so I'm not going to deduct lots of points for this. It would have been nice to have some windows here, even though this might be up against the building, depending on how you set up your LEGO city. But in case it's not up against the building, I think it's nice to have some windows here just to make it easier to see on the inside and let more light in. The topmost floor is the most interesting in terms of building techniques, just because of the roof. This, I've never seen this building technique before, and I was amazed when I put it together. This is just awesome, the way they did the Tudor itself. We're using lots of studs on the side techniques. These pieces are actually not held in place with any studs, but they're rather held in place by other pieces surrounding them. So it's very interesting. Watch the speed build to see how this gets put together. It's very, very nice. And even the roof here, it's done using some very nice clip-wise construction. There's very little LEGO Technic here. Most of it is LEGO System, just clipping things at the proper angle and choosing the pieces that fit exactly right. Very, very beautiful work here by the designer. I'm very, very happy about the build of this. And the rest of the set is pretty good as well. So we see a bit of the Tudor continuation right here. We have this balcony with a door that opens towards the inside instead of the outside because there's not enough space to open it the other way. So some nice thinking right there. And you can barely fit one minifigure in here. So it's not really spacious, but at least you can put a figure here. So that's what matters. A window here with some nice detail right here. That's pretty interesting. This gray wall is not the best look. I think if they added 1 or 2 windows here, that would have been even better. But it's okay. It's not too bad and there's no weird colors showing up or anything. So at least there's that. This window is nice and its construction is very interesting because it's influenced by this roof that's also integrated into it. So that's pretty interesting. More Tudor stuff right here. Although I wish these were transparent clear instead of white so that we can get more light coming into the uppermost floor. There's a little bit of gapping right here, but because there's no unsightly colors, I'm not going to complain too much. And I don't know how the designer would have been able to fix this without creating some new piece that covers this gap exactly. So I think it's going to be inevitable. You can play around with these roof parts a little bit to minimize the gap depending on what you want to make it look like. We do got a chimney right here, and there's another chimney on the roof. We'll look at that in a bit. So yeah, very nice from the outside. And it also looks nice from the inside as well. So we see here that we have a sink with some interesting building techniques that I mentioned during the build, an area for the cats, a litter box, a sofa here in teal, which is one of my favorite colors, a cat playground, some bugs right here, which are a reference to LEGO Friends Adventure Camp. So these bugs come from those sets, and it's interesting to see that this resident has collected those bugs and put them here on display. I don't know if they're alive or not, but let's hope that they are alive. We have a nice carpet and a bookshelf that can be removed relatively easily so you can look at it separately. And there's not too many books here, but what we do get here is nice, and I like the different colors used, so that's very interesting. There's also this tile that I want to look at separately, and it's because LEGO's made a big deal of this one piece. So we see here some default stuff like mail, keys, etc. But the interesting part here is really this lanyard, which shows some sunflowers, and in some parts of the world, this is used by people with special needs to indicate in a non-verbal way that they need special help with certain things. So it's nice that LEGO included this in the set to represent people from not just diverse backgrounds, but also diverse life experiences and conditions. I think that's very important, and if you don't like this piece, you just replace it with another painting or something. So I'm glad that it's there, and it's not mandatory if you don't like it. So I like it though, I'll keep it here. It's a little bit lazy in my opinion to see the keys and the mail all in one piece, but maybe this is going to be used as part of other sets, and LEGO's just reusing it for the Tudor Corner, because this might be re-included in something like LEGO City or LEGO Friends, and in those sets, the level of detail is a lot lower, so I can kind of see why they reuse this piece, because I would have preferred to see everything brick built, but that's probably not possible with all the stuff right here. So yeah, we've taken a look at this floor from all angles, pretty much. Oh, and here there's some cat food, some water, and this is a ladder to take us up to the roof. So the roof is going to fit like this, so if you climb up, you're going to exit from here, and here there's really not that much to see. There's this chimney right here, which is similar but not identical to this chimney on the previous floor, and that's pretty much it. There's no skylight, I wish there was, and not much else to comment on the thing from the underside. And with that, we've taken a look at the build overall. Of course, I cannot give every single detail, but if I did that, like, this video would be twice the length it already is, and it's already too long. But what I will do is I'll point out all the references to previous LEGO modulars in this set, because I was able to find at least one reference to every single modular going all the way back to 2007. For the cafe corner, we have this coffee right here, as well as the dark red color scheme. For Market Street, we have the droid balcony, which was done in a similar way in that set, but with black instead of gold. For the green grocer, we have the roof wedge plate technique. For the fire brigade, we have the sausages, as well as the dark red color scheme. For the emporium, the grand emporium, we have the mannequin right here, as well as the haberdashery, which is reminiscent of that set. For the pet shop, we have the cats, obviously. For the town hall, we have the big clock right here. For the cinema, we have the haberdashery. This purple cloth might have been used to create the clothes for one of the minifigures. That's pretty cool. For the Parisian restaurant, we have, again, a similar kind of restaurant here, along with bottles, sausage, etc. For the detective's office, it's really about the color scheme. So if you put this right next to the detective's office, you'll see lots of similarities between this color right here and this color right here. They're either identical or very similar. For the brick bank, we again have the large clock right here, and that also had the clock sticking out like this. And the black roof building technique is also copied from there with minor modifications. So we have seen this technique before in the brick bank. For the assembly square, it's all these flowers that come from the flower shop there. For the downtown diner, it's this rug right here. It's done in teal and it's similar in shape to the large structure on the downtown diner. It's also rounded in the same kind of way, with teal on the outside and white and transparent on the inside. For the corner garage, it's the dark green, red, and white color scheme. So these colors were used for the Octan part of that set. And we see them here used in close proximity, so it's kind of reminiscent of that set. For the bookshop, we have many references, including the bookshelf, obviously, that is the most obvious. We also have these grill pieces that were also used in the bookshop, as well as this microphone decoration. So we use this a lot in the bookshop, and I'm happy to see it return for the Tudor Corner 5 years later. For the police station is the trap door right here. For the boutique hotel It's these exterior stairs right here. They're very reminiscent of that set, as well as the handcuffs. Nice smart usage. We also use them in that set in a different context, but it's the same piece. For the Jazz Club, it's the tailor. So this haberdashery actually gets its cloth from the tailor of the Jazz Club, at least in theory. And also the red seats, which were used in the pizzeria and they're reused here on the inside of this window for the old guarded inn. For the museum, we have a bunch. First of all, this plant right here, built using very similar techniques as the one in the museum. This half wall technique that we first saw in the museum has been reintroduced here. So that's very welcome, and it's even using the same colors. And finally, surprisingly enough, the washroom or the toilet between the museum and this set are very similar in terms of the building techniques used. So yeah, very, very similar. Even the toilet paper is the same. And while we're here, I'll mention that the dumpster is a reference to the Parisian restaurant, and this foliage is a reference to the police station. We also have a couple of references to the LEGO X Mansion from Marvel, including these plus sign pieces right here so that we can add some minifigure accessories so superheroes can fly out of this building. I wish they give us more of these in different colors as optional parts so that if you want to, you can replace the pieces here and here with the plus shape pieces if you want to make this more into a superheroes kind of thing. And I do like when LEGO gives us these options. And there's also a reference to the LEGO Ideas Botanical Garden with the use of these flowers that were introduced in that set. We also have another reference to LEGO Ideas here with the typewriter representing the LEGO Ideas typewriter set. And these weird looking bugs are from LEGO Friends Adventure Camp, the sets from last year. So yeah, those are all the references that I was able to find. Did I miss any? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested to know of any references that I missed. But yeah, lots and lots of Easter eggs in the set. And this is just what I managed to notice right after building it. I'm sure if I spend more time with this set, I'll be able to find even more references to other sets and other themes. So that's a very, very nice thing about LEGO. The fact that it's so self-referential, and I just love that they do that. It's really, really great. This is a size comparison with some recent vehicles that I built from various themes, mostly LEGO City, but One Speed Champions. As always, I built everything here without the instructions. You can see here how these would scale to the modular building. I do think that this car scales particularly well. This one feels a little bit too large. I mean, both accommodate minifigures, but this just feels a bit oversized to me. Everything else feels right, more or less. Although I can't get over the fact that this bus is very narrow. But overall, I think that these make sense in context. Even this one is not too bad. And here's an aerial view to get a different perspective. Here's a look at the set next to the modular bookshop. I put the bookshop on this side and the townhouse on this side, so let's take a look at what that looks like. So here we see, I do like this. I don't like these parts right here, they're still showing, but I do like the idea of having the stairs go up in between. Looks pretty cozy. And I really like this side right here because we have this color, and then we have a bit of blue, and then this color again, so it's all very nice and consistent. Yeah, that's a very good look right there. And I think flipping them makes it look even better. So here we have the blue next to the teal, they're very close colors to each other. Also, I like the grill pieces used for both, and the chimneys are similar, although not identical, but they're still appropriately themed. Yeah, this just makes sense to me, having everything next to each other like this. That's very, very nice. And on this side, this is good. This looks really good to me. So we have very similar colors right here, and then dark red for both of the roofs. And they're using lots of interesting building techniques for both, and these are at an angle, these are at an angle. Yeah, it's really good to put these next to each other. Even the gold. We have a bit of gold right here, gold right here, gold right here. The foliage does not match because this is in the fall season and this is in the summer season, which is why I wish that they offered a summer version of this back when they released the set. They could have offered these same pieces in different colors and give you the option like what they did with the LEGO Treehouse set from the Ideas theme. Unfortunately, they did not do that, but again, it's very easy to remedy this with your own pieces if you want to make it all cohesive. But yeah, these two sets look really great next to each other, although I'm starting to see right now that the bookshop is starting to be a little bit dated compared to the Tudor Corner. I'm not saying that this is bad, it's still one of my favorites, but looking at the build techniques, like this is just very, very smooth. It looks like a toy, and this just looks so much more detailed with the masonry bricks right here, the balcony, lots of foliage compared to minimal foliage right here. You can see the evolution of LEGO modulars in the past 5 years, going from this, which is already excellent, to this, which is beyond excellent. So it's just a compliment towards LEGO in the best possible way for this set right here. Here's what the Tudor Corner looks like next to the X Mansion. And frankly, this is unflattering for the X Mansion because in universe, this is supposed to be so much larger than just a regular building, but here it's exactly the opposite. And here's what it looks like from the other corner. I don't think this is much better, although I do have to say, if you're just a regular minifigure and you're walking along the street and then you see a bunch of greenery right here, like actually let's bring this a bit closer to make it a bit more fair to the X Mansion. I do think that the X Mansion, if it was like unlicensed, you could turn this into some kind of school, but you need to add one more floor, and then I think it could make sense next to this building. Because the colors match quite nicely. You have dark blue versus this light blue. You have this dark orange as well as the nougat color. They're pretty congruent, as well as the use of white here and here. So I do think that with some customization, you can make these two look good together. But really, it's this one you gotta fix. And I was saying before, you could attach these transparent pieces to the set in order to connect some minifigures and make them fight in mid-air, although I wish they were spaced further apart. You can also park the Sentinel right here, thanks to this Technic piece that looks exactly like this one. So we're able to create some pretty nice action poses on this side of the Tudor Corner, and I think that that's not a coincidence. So probably these were developed around the same time, and designers were like, okay, let's throw in some Easter eggs or some possibility to have some superhero stuff in this set as well, and I'm happy that they did that. Although I wish they did a little bit more, adding some optional pieces so that people who don't want the superhero stuff don't have to get it. And this is what the set looks like next to the Natural History Museum. So very interesting color contrast between the olive green and the nougat right here. Masonry bricks on both sides. They're both at about the same level, so it feels like they were designed to work together. Also pink flowers, pink tree. It just makes sense to me. The alleyway makes sense at the bottom, so we have some stairs in between two buildings, just like real life. But then this balcony that basically is just looking at a wall that becomes uninteresting to me. So I wish that this balcony was on some other side. Maybe they could have even brought it at the front with some modification to the Tudor, although I do like this Tudor and I don't want them to interrupt it. So it's hard to know what to do with this. Or maybe just move this over to the other side. So just so that whoever's living here is not looking at a blank wall. But other than that, it's a good look. And in fact, the designer said explicitly that this stairs is meant to be put right next to the museum. So this is the intended way to connect the buildings together. And this is what is shown on the box also. Out of curiosity, I wanted to test the other option as well. And it's basically putting this building and then this. And this also doesn't look too bad. So we have here, the levels are not quite the same. So it's a bit of, I'm not going to say inconsistency because different buildings are like this in real life. And over here, this building sticks out a bit more. And I wish that was not the case, but at least the colors are not too bad. So you're not going to see some weird colors leaking out. So this works too if you want to put the buildings in this particular order. And when it comes to height, even though this has 3 full floors and this has 2 full floors plus this thing at the top, you don't really feel that, like, because the floor heights of the museum are taller, so each floor here is higher than the floors here, but I still think it works very well together. And I'm happy with this combination right here. You see like the red, blue, green next to each other. That's very nice. And looking at the street level, I could totally believe that this is all one street. It's all very, very consistent. And I like that LEGO has consistently done this all the way since 2007. Always the same sidewalk color, same outline. That's always appreciated. So now to wrap up, I'll talk about the building experience without the instructions. This was an amazing set to put together without the instructions. There's so many different building techniques and nice part usages. I really got to enjoy every moment of it. When I was building this set, I was having the time of my life. I'm not even kidding. So things like building this stuff right here on an angle, figuring out how to build this roof. Lots of interesting interior details as well, including the upside down piece used for the oven, for the grill back there, and many others. I'm not going to go through all of them again, but suffice to say, it was an amazing build experience without the instructions. And if you're up for a challenge this year, I'd say go for it. It's within the realm of possibility. It is doable. It's large, but it's not too tough. The building techniques are interesting, but they're difficult to design, easy to build. So if you're just building a set, either following the instructions or just looking at the 3D view and having like the pieces sorted by bag, you will be able to figure it out. So I'm very happy at the build experience of the set, and I wish LEGO will continue to do sets like this in the future. At this point in time, usually I give my opinion on price and value, but before I do that, I'm going to do something that I don't usually do, and that is look at other reviews. So there are other people who already got this set perhaps early and they have reviewed it and they gave their thoughts on it. I'm going to see what they said to see if I missed anything or if they can change my mind on something, because generally my feedback on the set is overall positive. I just have some nitpicks here and there. I wish the minifigures are a little bit better, a little bit more special, and I wish that they gave us more customizability options. So for example, don't force us to use these pieces right here. These are good, but also give us the option for just regular tiles if we want to use those. And same thing here, give us options to connect superheroes here and stuff of that nature. So that's generally what my feedback is. Oh, and one thing that was in my mind, I forgot to say it up until now, is this is a corner building. It's obvious it's a corner from the name and from the box, etc. But what if it was not? What if LEGO would basically take this part right here and copy paste it here, or take this part and copy paste it here, but essentially give us a building with 2 different parts, the blue part and the nougat part, but then make it a side building. So you're going to move the pieces around such that in the end it's a very similar building, but it can be connected from this side and that side instead of at a corner, because corners are pretty limiting. Basically, you can only put them at a corner. So you could put a building here, and then if you want to have stuff connect in a way that makes sense in your LEGO city, you're going to have to use the other corner. So there's no easy way to make this a side building right now. You're going to need to figure that out on your own. I wish that LEGO would offer a B model of this set, just like they used to with the old modulars from back in the day, to give us in the B model how to turn this into a straight or regular modular building. Again, the corner is great. Kudos to the designer for designing it. I appreciate building this corner, but if I don't want a corner, or maybe I want to get 2 copies of the set, then I should be able to build at least one of them as a straight. So those are my thoughts on the set right now. Overall, very positive, and I have the few critiques that I already mentioned. Now, I'm going to take a look at these reviews and see, am I going to change my mind on anything? And did they bring something to my attention that I did not notice?
A few moments later.
So I watched 3 sponsored reviews that came out early, as well as 2 unsponsored reviews, just to get what other people thought about this set. And the overall reaction was very, very positive, and I agree with them. This is an excellent set, by the way. They did mention some things that I did not mention. So for example, almost everybody mentioned that this piece is a recolor from green to black, and it makes sense being used here as a gutter piece instead of a plant part. So almost everybody talked about that. They also talked about how this chimney right here is fake because it's not connected to anything, but that's because of this guy. He is a big fan of chimneys, being a chimney sweep, and so he insisted on installing this second fake chimney. So that's pretty funny. And speaking of this guy, he's actually a pirate from the LEGO Bricklink Designer Program. He's in the Ominous Isle set, and this minifigure right here is also a pirate from that same set. So a lot of LEGO minifigures are leading on a second life, and the same applies to this minifigure right here, who is dressed in civilian clothing for this set, but in reality she is a queen, or at least lady of the brave Lion Knights from the Lion Knights Castle. So very interesting to see these minifigures coming up again in different sets. So that was pretty cool as a hidden Easter egg reference that I did not catch, partly because I did not build the Lion Knights Castle yet. So in terms of price and value, I think this set is excellent. Of course, you can always ask for better. Of course, I'm going to be greedy. I will ask for LEGO to give us a classic space logo. Does it make the most sense on a chimney sweep? Not really, but I still want the black classic space torso anyway, so I'm going to ask for it. And I wish we could have seen some Ninjago references, some Monkey Kid references, some even Dreams references in this set. We got one reference for LEGO Friends, and we have gotten that before in Assembly Square. It would be nice to see references to other themes. A lot of people point out the excellent studs on the side construction right here, and I do agree with that. It's pretty good. I just got so used to putting studs on the side that it did not even stand out to me that much, which is why I did not call it out, compared to this stuff right here, because this is also studs on the side and much more noteworthy. I think 10 years from now, people are going to remember this and this much more than this. Of course, all of this is designed by the same designer, so I'm sure he does not mind. Another thing people mentioned is the contrast between this window right here on the side versus these two windows right here. They're part of the same building, but not the same style, and people were mixed on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Personally, I can live with it, but I do understand the people who do say that these three should be consistent. I can understand that, but good thing that this is LEGO. You can change whatever you want about this building. You can even recolor it entirely if you wanted to, so that's always a possibility with LEGO. But with the pieces that you get in the set, you can do almost anything you want. One person pointed out that if they just added 2 or 3 more pieces, these wedge pieces right here, then you could build this mirrored. So let's say you want to flip it, have this side be on that side and vice versa. In other words, put the haberdashery right here, because maybe that looks better in your LEGO city. Well, you're going to need to buy 2 extra parts to make that happen, and you're going to need to follow the instructions in mirror order. I don't use the instructions, so I don't care too much about that, but I do wish that LEGO gave us those 2 wedge plates on top of the other extra parts that I requested, so that you can make this more customizable right out of the box. LEGO does this for much smaller and cheaper sets, like the Creator 3-in-1 sets, so I don't think that for the price that we pay here, $230 US or $300 Canadian, I don't think it's too much to ask for just a few more extra pieces. So in terms of price, I think the price is okay. The price has not gone up this year compared to the previous standard 32x32 modular that we got 2 years ago, the Jazz Club in 2023. It is less expensive than the Natural History Museum from December 2023, but that's because the museum was a lot larger. It was on 1.5 base plates, and it really used up all of that space compared to this that uses comparatively less space. So yes, here on the sidewalk, we're extending this, but then on the upper floors, we're really using 24 by 24 or something like that. I did not count the studs, but it's a lot smaller in terms of its footprint compared to the bottom, and that's how most modular buildings are. There's nothing wrong with that, but just something to keep in mind when thinking about value. So if you like modular buildings, if you like interesting building techniques, if you like the color scheme, I think you're going to enjoy getting a set. If you like clocks, you want to have lots of printed clock faces, this is an excellent parts pack for that. If you're looking for minifigures, well, the minifigures in the set are okay. They have some interesting references to other themes like LEGO Ideas and Bricklink Designer Program, but they're not out of this world. So if you're looking for minifigures, probably better to get some collectible minifigures, for example, D&D, which recently retired, but you can still find in many stores as of the time of this recording, or other series. These all have side printing, dual molded legs, and oftentimes side printing on the legs as well. So if you're looking for the best minifigures LEGO has to offer, just get the minifigures. And actually, you can put these here, and it's actually going to look quite nice. Yeah, they fit in quite nicely in the theme and in the LEGO city in general. So I do wish that LEGO offered us a bit more diversity in terms of the minifigures. Yes, the yellow ones are important. They've been part of LEGO since 1978, and I think that should continue. But it would not hurt to give us some more realistic minifigures as well, and various more realistic skin tones to provide more diversity to your LEGO city. Yeah, just look at this guy. It seems like this set was designed for him, so he can stand here and aim at any enemies. That's just a perfect spot for him. I have plenty more to say about this set, most of it positive, but I think you get the idea. This is a great set to get in 2025. Of course, if you got it on day 1 with the gift with purchase, I think that's the best value. Otherwise, if you can find a way to get it on double insiders points or use your existing points to get it on some kind of a discount, that would be better as always. But it's not terrible value for the money. You get 3,200 pretty good pieces for $230 US or 300 Canadian. So if you're hesitating, I'd say go for it. You will enjoy the build experience, and you will enjoy putting all of the floors together, and especially here at the top. It's like chef's kiss. I really, really had the time of my life building this set. I don't say this often about most of the LEGO sets I build these days, but this was a lot of fun. And if you get it from a LEGO store, they might still have that gift with purchase available, but probably not for much longer. So go to your local LEGO store and try to get this in store if you can, because this is a nice bonus to have. I've seen other people review this set, and it does not really fit on the corner right here, so you would need to place it somewhere else. And you can get all these pieces separately from other sets or from Bricklink or the LEGO Pick-a-Brick service. So if you missed out on this set, there's not a lot you're going to miss out on. Although, of course, having it is always better than not having it. Still, I wish LEGO would stop this habit of forcing us to buy these releases day 1 with these exclusive gifts with purchase. I wish that LEGO would make this exclusive for something like 6 months. So if you want to get it first, you have to buy the Tudor Corner. But after the 6 months, I really think that LEGO should just make it a regular set. You can buy it at the LEGO store or any store, because there's nothing really special about this set besides the packaging, like the Icons branding, the black background, which I do not like, by the way. Like, this could have been like a LEGO Creator set or a LEGO City set, and you can buy it at regular stores. And I think LEGO should make these more available, and they might even make more money that way, because there are people who are going to get it on day 1, and then there's people who are going to get it afterwards when it's available for sale, instead of just making a limited run, and people get it or they don't get it, and then basically people are not going to get it after. But what do you think about that and about all the other things I mentioned about this set? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.